Namaskar, welcome to PK's classes. Today we'll study the label of significance during a hypothesis testing. We know that hypothesis is an assumption that we make about a population parameter, just like mean. It is a quantitative statement about a population, and to test some hypothesis about a parent population from which the sample is drawn is called the hypothesis testing. There can be two types of hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. When we assume that there is no real difference in the sample mean and the population mean, we call it as null hypothesis, and when we assume that there is a difference in the sample mean and population mean, we call it as alternate hypothesis. Just because it is not possible to conduct the experiment in the whole population, we take a sample of the population and we conduct the experiment, and we can assume that the mean of the population is same as that of the sample, that is null hypothesis. We can assume the mean of the population is different from the sample, that is alternate hypothesis. Suppose we have divided the sample population into different groups. So if we assume that the mean of the different groups is same, there is no difference, that is null hypothesis. If we assume that there is difference between them, that is called alternate hypothesis. So during hypothesis testing, there can be two types of error, false positive error or false negative error. False positive error is called type 1 error, that is rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true, and false negative error is the type 2 error, that is accepting the null hypothesis when it is false. So the probability of committing type 1 error at a certain level is called the level of significance. So when you say level of significance, that is probability of committing type 1 error at a certain level. So the confidence with which an experimenter rejects or retains a null hypothesis depends upon the level of significance, the significance level which is adopted. So this significance level or the level of significance is usually expressed as a percentage, and the level of significance, we can call it as the size of rejection region or size of the critical region. So in this normal distribution curve, the two tails, 0.025 of area, so 0.025, 0.025 together 0.05. If the sample statistics falls in these two regions, we call it we reject the null hypothesis, and if it falls in the 0.95 of the area from here to here, that means if the sample statistics falls in this region, then we call it as we accept the null hypothesis. So in most statistical tests, the level of significance is generally fixed at 5%. This means that probability of accepting a true hypothesis is 95%. Okay, and this is 0.05 means 5 by 100. So usually we express as percentage. So if P is less than 0.01, that means the probability of type 1 error is 1 in 100. So we can say that P less than 0.01 is more significant than P less than 0.05. When we say p less than 0.001, that is 1 in 1000. So probability of type 1 error is 1 in 1000. So it is more significant than p less than 0.01. So among these three, if we compare, if we are getting p less than 0.001, that means it is more significant. So you can see in a say suppose in a t table. So this is for one tail it is 0.025 and for two tails 0.05. So we can see this, and p less than 0.01, this is p less than 0.001. So you can find here for a particular degree of freedom. Here you can see for degree of freedom 14, p less than 0.05, value is 2.145, and p less than 0.01, this value increases to 2.977. For p less than 0.001, this value increases to 4.14. And our calculate, this is the table t values at different level of significance, and we will calculate a t value. So calculated t value should be more than the table t value. Then only we reject the null hypothesis. So if the table t value is a 2.5, that means it is the level of significance is only p less than 0.05. Suppose the calculated t value is 4.5, then it is highly significant. We can say that p is less than 0.001. So from this you can see that p less than 0.001 is more significant than p less than 0.002, which is more significant than p less than 0.01, which is more significant than p less than 0.02, which is more significant than p less than 0.05. And usually this 5% level is usually fixed. The level of significance is generally fixed at 5%. So this is the minimum, and if it is there, so if your calculated t value is more than 2.145 for a degree of freedom say 14, then it's okay, and we can reject the null hypothesis, and we can reject our assumption, and accordingly we can conclude. Say for degree of freedom 10, this value is 2.228, t value is 2.228 for p less than 0.05. So our value should be more than 2.228 to even 2.23. Yes, it is enough to reject the null hypothesis. So this is all about the level of significance in hypothesis testing. Thank you.